Well, good afternoon, folks. Still cold as balls out here. It's getting warmer though, and I say it's getting warmer. It's still minus 31 today, but it's a lot better than minus 50 with the wind chill that we had yesterday. Anyways, I gotta run and grab the side-by-side, and then we are gonna move Cousin Eddie's house. All right, so this is the mobile chicken coop, AKA Cousin Eddie's house. We're gonna move the tractor out of the shop, pull this thing in, get everything put back in there. We've got a couple of birds with a hygiene problem. They seem to be dealing with some northern fowl mites right now. So we're gonna quarantine them in Cousin Eddie's house, treat them, make sure they're good to go before they go back in and get integrated with the rest of the birds. So as always, I'm really hopeful that the tractor starts. I have not had this thing plugged in on the battery charger. So let's see if she goes. Come on, baby. Nope, not today. Okay, let's try this again. Come on, baby. We're going backwards now. So I'm hoping now that it's gonna go. Otherwise, we're gonna have to recalibrate the old flux capacitor. Never mind, there she goes. That's what we like to hear. Of course, now side-by-sides had to sit outside for half an hour. Bet you that old seat's pretty frosty on the cheeks here. Woo-wee! Yeah, that's refreshing. So now that it's in here, I don't recall this thing being that big. So hopefully, I mean, we got this thing has to fit right here, basically right in this hole. But square peg looks a little bit bigger than the round hole. I guess we'll see how it goes here. So there it is, just fits in behind the greenhouse. So we're gonna let this thing warm up in the shop here for a bit. But the plan is that we're gonna put a couple of birdies in here. They got some roosting space, and we'll get them treated for their mites here today. So I just grabbed one of the girls out of the coop that we're gonna separate here. I don't think she's too impressed about being in this position, but she's pretty docile, so that works for me, works for her. But you can see her feet here. They get the lifting of the scales. So this is from the mites burrowing underneath the scales, and when the mites poop, that's the deposit that gets left behind. And as you can imagine, it gets quite uncomfortable for the chicken. So we want to go ahead and treat that. A bird like this, not that uncommon, or not that common, because she doesn't have feathered legs. She's got scaled legs. So the leghorns that we have, the Rhode Island Reds, they are typically not at a huge risk of this, but more the feathered leg breeds like any of our Easter eggers. The silky for sure is a prime candidate for it. So we got 3 that we're gonna chuck into Cousin Eddie's house here for the night. We'll get them treated up, and they're gonna have a 2-week spa vacation here. I'm gonna get a light rigged up for them, some feed and some water, and we'll be good to go. Now, maybe you're wondering why we've got to isolate these couple of birds from the rest of the flock. The biggest reason is obviously we've noticed they have mites. We don't want them to pass that on to any of the other ones. There's of course a risk that there's mites in the coop. We'll deal with that another day. But the big thing is getting them out of there, getting them treated. And because we are treating them, we don't want any of their eggs getting into the food chain. So what do we do with those eggs? Well, they just get turfed. Away they go. So for the next 14 days, if they lay any eggs in there, there's a chance they might not. Simply because, you know, it's a change in coop. It's a little bit stressful. It's a bit of a difference for them. But if they do lay any eggs, out they go, out of the food chain. But I think they'll do all right in here. We got those 2, and then there's a Silky down on the floor. Silky always kind of hangs out on the floor. They got their light, they got their feed, they got their water. Nice place to roost. They'll be good and comfy for a while. And honestly, that's probably the biggest thing, is keeping them comfy. We know this isn't the Ritz. In fact, it's more like the Starlight Motel. It's not fancy, but it's functional, and it's warm, it's dry, and they are comfy in there. So now the girls are all tucked in there nice and comfy. It's time for the difficult questions. So why do we have to medicate them as opposed to using more natural remedies? Well, you know, dust bathing is the primary focus, obviously. Here we are in the depths of winter. It's January, and yeah, you can bring a certain amount of dust bath material into the coop, but it's not always functional. And diatomaceous earth is another one. So diatomaceous earth, there's a lot of, it's really a polarizing subject as to whether that stuff even works, or if the risks outweigh the benefits. So the big thing with diatomaceous earth is that, it gets under there, it's microscopic. It kills the parasites because it gets under their skin. Well, if it does that to the parasites, what does it do to the chicken's lungs? What does it do to the chicken's eyes? The other thing it does is it kills all the microbial activity in the deep litter bedding. That's what's keeping our chicken house warm right now. So that's not favorable. But no, as is the case with like 90% of our chickens, they just go outside, crawl underneath the chicken house, have themselves a dust bath, sort it all out. They just practice good hygiene. We've got these couple that evidently are struggling to do that. So we'll just make sure they're taken care of. So now there's probably a few folks out there that are wondering, well, like, why don't you just dip your chickens in apple cider vinegar and 2-3 times a day rub them down with lavender oil and maybe give them a shiatsu massage? If you find that's working for you, that's absolutely fantastic. I'm very happy for you. Anyways, it's time for me to go inside, find myself a cup of tea, so I'll let you go for now. I hope you have a fantastic evening. We'll see you tomorrow.